Hey friends, and it's the Funky Play Brothers, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. And today we're reading Chapter 7 of Lily to the Rescue, the Not So Stinky Skunk, and last Chapter 6 introduced the Not So Stinky Skunk. This should have been about prairie dogs. The first 5 chapters were about prairie dogs. Okay, now let's read Chapter 7 of the Not So Stinky Skunk. 7. Twigs and leaves slapped me, but I struggled through on the other side right by a mossy log with my new friend. She peered at me and then turned so her butt was facing me. Obviously, this was a squirrel who understood the polite way to introduce herself to a dog. I wanted to be polite as well, so I tried up to give her butt a good sniff. My new friend lifted up her tail so I could smell better, but this was also new information that some squirrels wanted to so much to be like dogs that they had learned how to act like us. I could hear Maggie Rose trying to come through the bush after us. Dad, Lily ran after a skunk, she called. No, Lily, Dad shouted. Why would anyone say no about meeting a new friend? People should really think harder about how they use the word other than bath. It was the worst thing humans could ever say. I sniffed my new friend's butt more deeply. Call her. We can't let her get sprayed by that skunk, Maggie Rose, Dad yelled. Lily, come here. Get away from the skunk, my girl called out. There was 2 words in that sentence that I knew. Lily and come. And Maggie Rose was saying a new word I had never heard before. Dad had said the word too. Skunk. They were saying skunk. Perhaps they meant that my new friend was called Skunk, not Squirrel. Maybe that's why it didn't run up a tree or down a hole or into a giant hose. I left the skunk and ran toward my girl because she said come. I always go to her when she says that. Well, most of the time. Some of the time anyway, oddly as approaching, wagging happily, Maggie Rose did not seem glad to see me. She backed away as I came closer. What was wrong? Great, Dad groaned. Lily got sprayed by a skunk. Take her down to the pond, Maggie Rose. I've still got some shampoo in the truck. I'll go fetch it. You get her fur wet, but try not to let her rub against you, or we'll have to clean you too. Come on, Lily, Maggie Rose urged, moving backward toward the big water. Lily, follow me. No, don't touch me. She skipped out of the way. Come, Lily. This was an extremely confusing game. She was calling me, but then when I obeyed, she said no. Did she want me to close to her or not? But I followed her because she had my girl. She's my girl. Maggie Rose kicked off her shoes and waded into the water. I sat on the shore and watched curiously. She waded up to her knees and then called me. Lily, come. So now she wanted me near her again. I splashed happily into the water. Maggie Rose backed away from me. It's so cold, she claimed. She scooped up a handful of water and tossed it at me. Better get you wet. Here, Lily, we need to give you a bath. I froze. A bath? Another bath? Was that why we were here? That couldn't be true, could it? I shook my head to get rid of the water and spotted something floating right behind me. My girl. A stick! A stick would take her mind off the whole bath subject. I lunged at it. It felt funny trying to run in the heavy water. I pushed through it and heaved myself forward. Suddenly there was no more sand under my paws. It had dropped away and all I could touch was water. It was like jumping into one of those holes Craig and Brian sometimes dug in the field. I was sinking. This was very interesting. I had never been underneath water before. I kept trying to run, but my running was not taking me anywhere. My paws brushed pebbles. Then I was standing looking up where the sun was acting very crazy, dancing and bobbing at the surface of the water. I could faintly hear Maggie Rose calling, "Lily, Lily." I hoped she would soon realize that I couldn't run to her. I was a good dog who always came when I was called, but not now. I couldn't even really see my girl. I couldn't smell her. I couldn't hardly hear her. I saw her wobble and jump as she waded toward me. My girl's hands plunged through the clear water to grab me and pull me up to the surface. "Lily, I've got you," she gasped. She held tight to her chest. She was struggling as if she were trying to run just as I had been, but she wasn't getting anywhere. The water was nearly over my head, only my nose and eyes were out. I was glad about my nose because I realized now that I had not been able to breathe during this underwater time. Maggie rose up to her neck too. Her neck was tipped back in the water so that just her face was out. "Dad," she shouted. Dad came running down the path and leaped into the water with us. Now we're all playing this strange water game. People usually decide what dogs are going to do, but in my opinion, there are other games that are more fun, like Chase Me or Pull on Craig's Ducks. Dad grabs Maggie Rose and me together. "I've got you both," he picked up and carried us to the shore. Then he sat down on a big log with my girl on his lap, hugging her. I squirmed away and ran in a few circles and tried to shake the water out of my fur. What were we going to do next? Maybe it would involve bacon. My girl was shivering. You're okay," Dad told her. "Lily's okay too." I was scared, Maggie Rose replied weakly. "Lily just sank. I thought she'd dog paddle." "Not all dogs can swim," Dad told her. "Lily's a pit bull mix." "A pit bull mix? That's like our dog." "And pits are pretty heavy. All that muscle, they can't float, so some of them can't doggy paddle. Don't go in after her again, Maggie Rose. Hear me? Call for me, got it?" Maggie Rose nodded. Dad hugged her tightly. Then he laughed just a bit. "Great, we're all going to smell like skunk now." Maggie Rose laughed a little too. I wagged. Dad lifted his hand to his face and smelled them. He frowned. So that's the end of chapter 7 of the Not So Stinky Skunk. Of Little Kid Rescued Not So Stinky Skunk. So it's pretty good. Just, if it's a Not So Stinky Skunk, I don't feel like they got sprayed. If it's the Not So Stinky Skunk. And that's the only skunk that's been showed. So I think it's not going to be, they're not going to smell like skunk, and Lily almost drowned herself. So, just by getting this thing. But Lily's a pit bull mix, like my dog. Tune in next week for chapter 8 of the Not So Stinky Skunk. And that's right before chapter 9, the final chapter. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at the Funky Playbros. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Funky Playbrothers. Support our vlog at cashapp at the $ Funky Playbrothers. So you get more unboxings, more taste tests, more adventures, more monies, more readings, and for support. Thank you for watching. Bye.